Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about 31 phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. In the previous lecture, we covered up to the fluorine NMR spectroscopy and its application to study structural features of fluorine containing compounds. Now, this is phosphorus 31 phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. Now, its introduction and principle. Introduction and principle. So 31 NMR spectroscopy is used for the study of phosphorus containing compounds. Phosphorus containing compounds for their structure determination. So 31 phosphorus NMR spectroscopy is useful for the study of phosphorus containing compound for their structural determination. Now coming to principle. Now similar to proton nuclei and similar to fluorine nuclei, the 31 phosphorus nuclei natural abundancy is 100%. Natural abundancy is 100%. Together with high gyromagnetic ratio, that is gamma is equal to 5.10, and its spin quantum number, nuclear spin quantum number, I is equal to plus or minus 1/2. So similar to proton nuclei, the 31 nuclei of phosphorus, 31 phosphorus nuclei is also spin active. So the phosphorus nuclei is also spin active. Therefore, under the conditions of external magnetic field, the 31 phosphorus nuclei degenerated energy state is split into two energy levels according to 2i plus 1 rule, similar to proton and fluorine. Say for example, now you take a nuclei of phosphorus, 31 phosphorus. Due to its spin around its vertical axis, generated certain amount of magnetic field of its own, known as secondary magnetic field. Now, under this condition, the nuclei has a degenerated energy state, I is equal to plus or minus 1/2. Now, when certain amount of external magnetic field is applied to the spinning nuclei, its degenerated energy state is split into two energy levels, lower energy level and as well as the higher energy level, where the nuclei of lower energy level, the spin quantum number is equal to minus half. For higher energy level, it is plus half. The energy difference between the two energy level, that is delta nu, which is equal to radio frequency energy. Now, similar to proton and fluorine nuclei, 31 phosphorus nuclei is also spin active. Hence, under the conditions of external magnetic field, its degenerated energy state is split into two energy level, lower energy level and higher energy level. The energy difference between the two energy level will be exactly equal to radio frequency radiation. Therefore, a phosphorus nuclei under appropriate conditions of external magnetic field, it absorbed radio frequency radiation to undergo spin transition from lower spin state to the higher spin state, resulted the spectrum called as NMR spectrum. Where the NMR spectrum is resulted from the nuclei of phosphorus. Therefore, this spectrum is called as 31 phosphorus NMR. 31 phosphorus NMR. So the principle involved in the phosphorus NMR is quite similar to that involved either in proton or either in fluorine. Now what are the principles involved in the proton and fluorine? That is gamma is equal to absorption frequency is equal to gamma H0 now absorption frequency is equal to gamma H0 divided by 2 pi. This is the first principle. Or absorption frequency is equal to 2 nu H0 divided by H. This is the second principle. Now these are the principles involved in either proton NMR or fluorine NMR, where absorption frequency is equal to gyromagnetic ratio of nuclei under study, and H0 is the strength of applied magnetic field which we are applied, divided by 2 pi, then we will get the absorption frequency. If we substitute gamma value for proton and H0 applied to proton, we will get the proton absorption frequency. If we substitute gamma value of fluorine and H0 applied to the fluorine nuclei, then we will get absorption frequency of fluorine. In the same way, if we substitute gamma value of a phosphorus nuclei and H0 applied to the extent of H0 applied to the phosphorus nuclei, then we will get the absorption frequency of phosphorus. So the principle is same for all. Now coming to second principle, where absorption frequency is also given by 2 into secondary magnetic field produced by a particular nuclei and strength of applied magnetic field applied to the nuclei under study. This is H is the Planck constant. Let us apply. If we substitute secondary magnetic field produced by proton and H0 applied to proton, then we will get proton absorption frequency. If we substitute the secondary magnetic field produced by fluorine nuclei and H0 applied to fluorine nuclei, then we will get fluorine absorption frequency. Or if we substitute the phosphorus secondary magnetic field and the extent of secondary magnetic field applied to the phosphorus nuclei, then we will get the absorption frequency for phosphorus nuclei. So that the principle involved in the phosphorus is quite similar to that involved either in proton NMR or either in fluorine NMR. So this is about the principle. Now in detailed principle we have studied in the first semester. Therefore I am giving a brief notes to principle of phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. Now coming to the chemical shifts. The chemical shifts are absorption frequencies. Chemical shifts are absorption frequency for phosphorus. So again similar to proton and fluorine, the absorption frequency for a phosphorus is also measured in delta and expressed in terms of ppm units. In ppm units. But similar to proton and fluorine, the absorption frequencies, because the energy is absorbed in the range of radio frequency, and similar to those two earlier spectroscopic technique, the absorption frequencies for phosphorus nuclei is also measured in delta and presented in ppm units. But the range of phosphorus absorption is extended from 0.0 to plus 250 ppm and 0.0 to minus 250 ppm. This absorption frequency is moderate with respect to fluorine and with respect to proton, where in the proton NMR the range of proton absorption frequencies are lying in between 0 to 0.02, say 10.0 or 20.0 ppm. Whereas in the fluorine NMR, the absorption frequency of fluorine is lying in between 0.02 plus 500 minus 500. In the same way, the phosphorus nuclei absorption frequencies are lying between 0.02 plus 250 ppm and minus 250 ppm. Now what is the difference between fluorine and phosphorus? Where the fluorine signals are appear up to minus 500 ppm for upfield value, whereas the phosphorus nuclei absorption frequencies are appear again upfield, but it is up to minus 250 ppm, somewhat downfield when compared with fluorine, because with respect to electronegativity, fluorine is more electronegative and more electron density in nature when compared with phosphorus. Phosphorus is less electronegative, and phosphorus absorption frequencies are upfield when compared with the proton, as phosphorus is more negative electronegative with more electron density when compared with the proton. So the phosphorus absorption frequencies are lying in between 0.02 plus 250 and minus 250. This is the scale, 0.0 to minus 250 ppm plus 250 ppm plus 250 ppm. Now in some compounds, the absorption frequency of phosphorus is lying under minus ppm, say like this, upfield. Now in some other compounds, the absorption frequencies may be lying from 0.02 plus 250 ppm. So the absorption frequencies of proton sometimes downfield from 0.0, sometimes upfield from 0.0, that depending upon the structure and nature of the phosphorus containing compound. Is it clear? Now here, for the reference, in the proton NMR spectroscopy, we have used tetramethylselene as a reference with delta is equal to 0.0. Now in the phosphorus NMR spectroscopy, orthophosphoric acid H3PO4 is used as a reference for comparison of absorption frequencies of the phosphorus containing other compounds, where H3PO4 appear with one signal at 0.0 ppm, similar to tetramethylselene in phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. This is about the chemical shifts. Now coming to a brief discussion about coupling constant. That is J in Hertz units. What is J? The frequency difference between any two lines within one multiplet signal is constant. That constant distance is called as coupling constant. As it is a frequency difference, hence it is measured in Hertz units, representing with capital J. J stands for coupling constant. So coupling constant depends upon the extent of coupling interactions between the nuclei. If the nuclei were strongly coupled, the coupling constant is maximum. If the nuclei are less strongly coupled, the coupling constants are minimum. So about the coupling interactions and about the coupling mechanism we studied in our first semester. No need to go for a detailed study for coupling constant. So depending upon the coupling interactions, the value may be varied. In some compounds where the phosphorus is strongly coupled, the J value is maximum. Now in some other compounds where the phosphorus is less strongly coupled, the J value is minimum. So similar to proton and fluorine NMR, here similar to fluorine NMR, here the phosphorus nuclei may be involved in homonuclear coupling. Homonuclear coupling as well as heteronuclear coupling. homonuclear coupling as well as hetero. There are two type of coupling interactions are possible for phosphorus, includes homonuclear coupling as well as heteronuclear coupling. Now coming to homonuclear coupling. The coupling interactions between the spin active nuclei belongs to similar atom is called as homonuclear coupling. That is, one nuclei of one phosphorus may coupled with the nuclei of other phosphorus. So phosphorus coupling comes under homonuclear. Now it also involved, the phosphorus nuclei also involved in heteronuclear coupling. That is, the coupling interactions between the nuclei, spin active nuclei related to the dissimilar atoms, different atoms. Say for example, 31 phosphorus may be coupled with proton nuclei, which is also spin active, where the two nuclei are interacted with each other, which belongs to dissimilar atom. Nuclei of phosphorus is different from nuclei of proton. Similarly, 31 phosphorus may coupled with fluorine nuclei. 31 phosphorus may also coupled with fluorine nuclei. Say the nuclei of phosphorus is different from the nuclei of fluorine. Hence comes under heteronuclear coupling. So two type of couplings are possible, homo and as well as heteronuclear coupling, which is quite similar to the possibility in observed in fluorine NMR spectroscopy. Now coming to types. Now similar to again fluorine, geminal coupling with phosphorus. A geminal couplings are possible. It may be geminal couplings are possible, as well as vicinal coupling. Vicinal couplings are also possible, and long range couplings. So these are the types of coupling. Geminal couplings, vicinal coupling, as well as long range couplings are possible. Now, the coupling interaction between the nuclei separated by the two bonds are called as geminal coupling, and whatever the coupling constant observed is called as 2J. 2J, where the 2 stands for two bonds separated or two bonds present between the coupled nuclei. Now vicinal coupling interaction between the nuclei separated by 3 bonds, and coupling constant resulted from the vicinal coupling is called as 3J coupling. 3 stands for 3 bonds are existed between the coupled nuclei, whatever it may be. Now long range coupling interaction between the nuclei separated by up to 4 bonds. Now coupling constant is denoted or represented with 4J. So 2J, 3J, 4J couplings are possible. Now in 3J, there may be trans coupling as well as cis couplings are possible. Similar to proton, cis coupling as well as trans couplings are possible. What is trans coupling? A coupling interaction between the spin active nuclei opposite with respect to each other is called as trans coupling. The same if the spin active nuclei coupled with each other at the same side with respect to the molecule is called as cis coupling. So in detail study we completed in proton NMR spectroscopy. Now value of coupling constant. The coupling constant of phosphorus nuclei, the J value for a phosphorus nuclei, somewhat less when compared with the fluorine and somewhat more when compared with the proton. So more than proton and less than fluorine. We observed the coupling constant for a phosphorus, the J values are moderate. It is strongly coupled, but when compared with the fluorine, it is less strongly coupled. When compared with the proton, it is more strongly coupled. So this is about coupling constant and the absorption frequency and as well as principle. Coming to the application of phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. Now, some specific examples included in your syllabus. Now we are going to discuss the NMR spectrum for only those molecules which included in the syllabus. So we have to study the phosphorus NMR spectrum for different type of compounds which are present in the syllabus. Now first one, phosphorus NMR spectrum. Phosphorus NMR spectrum. First molecule is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. So ATP. Why we are studying phosphorus NMR spectrum for ATP? As the ATP example is included in your syllabus. Now its structure. This is pyrimidine, one NH2 group, imidazole ring, a pyrimidine with amine group. This is imidazole nucleus attached with sugar unit. OH here, OH here. Now this is CH2, oxygen, phosphorus. So up to this part it is adenosine. It is in triphosphate form, that is three phosphate groups are attached with CH2OH. OPO, this is OH, oxygen, again phosphorus, double bond O, oxygen, oxygen, phosphorus, double bond O, OH, O minus. This is the structure of adenosine triphosphate. Now it consisting of three phosphorus nuclei in the side chain of triphosphate. One phosphorus, second phosphorus, here third phosphorus. With respect to this group, the first phosphorus is alpha. First phosphorus is designated with alpha. The middle phosphorus is designated with beta. The third phosphorus, terminal phosphorus, is designated with gamma. Now there are three phosphorus, alpha, beta and gamma. The three phosphorus in the side chain of triphosphate unit are non-equivalent because this is the phosphorus adjacent with respect to the whole group. Is it clear? Now the situation is not existed at middle phosphorus, where the middle phosphorus is attached with one phosphate at left side, other phosphate group at right side. So the environment of first phosphorus, alpha phosphorus, is different from beta phosphorus. Coming to terminal one, where the terminal phosphorus is attached by O minus, oxygen as negative. Now the situation is not observed at alpha and beta. So in brief, all the three phosphorus nuclei present in the side chain of triphosphate unit are non-equivalent. Therefore three signals appear. One for alpha phosphorus, second for beta, third for gamma phosphorus. Now its spectrum contain three signals. For each phosphorus separately appear with respective signal. Now a middle signal is related to alpha phosphorus. The first signal is related to beta phosphorus, and the terminal signal, last signal, is related to gamma phosphorus. So this is the phosphorus NMR spectrum of ATP. However, there are three phosphorus, but they are non-equivalent, hence three signals separately appear. One phosphorus, that is gamma phosphorus, appear at downfield value, when compared with the beta phosphorus, where beta phosphorus is appear at upper field value, the alpha phosphorus is appear in between, that is moderate absorption frequency. So this is the ATP phosphorus NMR spectroscopy or spectrum. Now coming to the second example. Now the second example is triphenyl phosphine selenide. Triphenyl phosphine selenide. Triphenyl phosphine selenide, it is PH3 PSE, three phenyl ligands, one selenium ligand attached with central phosphorus. Its structure, it has a tetragonal tetrahedral geometry, where the central phosphorus is attached with one selenium ligand, three phenyl ligands, a tetrahedral geometry. Now in this complex, the selenium nuclei is also spin active. Selenium nuclei is also spin active with I is equal to plus or minus 1 by 2. Similar to phosphorus, a nuclei of selenium is also spin active with I value 1 by 2. Therefore, it coupled. So, this compound or complex contain only one phosphorus. Therefore, one signal is appeared. But here, the phosphorus coupled with a nuclei of selenium. This is heteronuclear coupling. How many selenium to which the phosphorus coupled? Only one selenium. Therefore 1 plus 1, a signal is appear as doublet. So phosphorus appear with a doublet signal, one signal with a doublet, that is due to the coupling with selenium nuclei. As there is only one selenium nuclei, according to n plus 1, 1 plus 1, its signal is appear as doublet with 1:1 intensity. A doublet signal is appear with 1:1 intensity. So this is the 31 phosphorus NMR spectrum for triphenyl phosphine selenide. Now the third example, phosphorus sesquisulfide. Phosphorus sesquisulfide. P4S3. Its formula is P4. Sesquisulfide formula is P4S3. 4 phosphorus, 3 sulfur units, sulfur atoms. Now its structure contain 1 phosphorus, sulfur here, 1 sulfur here, 1 phosphorus here, 1 phosphorus, 1 phosphorus here. This is 6-membered ring where there is a bond between 1,3 phosphorus, 1,3 phosphorus and a bond between 1,4 phosphorus through sulfur. So this is the structure of phosphorus sesquisulfide. Now you observe there are 4 sulfur nuclei. Now are they equivalent or non-equivalent? Let us identify. You observe below there are 3 phosphorus. Each phosphorus is attached by 1 sulfur. Say this phosphorus is attached by 1 phosphorus. This phosphorus is attached by 1 sulfur. 2 phosphorus. One is this, other one is this. 2 phosphorus. Now this is the phosphorus attached by 1 sulfur, 1 phosphorus, 1 phosphorus. Now this is the phosphorus attached with one sulfur, one phosphorus, one phosphorus. Is it clear? So for the below 3 phosphorus nuclei, each of the phosphorus is bound with one sulfur, 2 phosphorus. Now for the above phosphorus, you observe this is the phosphorus attached by 1 sulfur, 2 sulfur, 3 sulfur. Is it non-equivalent or equivalent? That is, all the 3 below phosphorus nuclei are equivalent as they attached by 1 sulfur, 2 phosphorus. But the above phosphorus is attached by only 3 sulfurs, no phosphorus. That means above phosphorus nuclei is non-equivalent from below the 3 phosphorus nuclei. Therefore 2 signals are appeared. One for above phosphorus, the second signal for below phosphorus. Is it clear? Now coming to multiplicity. The above phosphorus is non-equivalent from below 3 phosphorus, so that it coupled. So a phosphorus coupled with the below 3 phosphorus, 1 plus 3, what happens? 1 plus 3, it appears as quartet. Above phosphorus signal appear as quartet as it coupled with the below 3 phosphorus. 1 plus 3, it is quartet. Now all the 3 phosphorus of below are equivalent coupled with above phosphorus. How many phosphorus above? Only 1. So 1 plus 1, a doublet. So above phosphorus appear as quartet, below phosphorus signal appear as doublet. Is it clear? Now 1 quartet, one doublet. This is related to 3 phosphorus nuclei lying below the structure. This belongs to 1 phosphorus. Quartet belongs to the phosphorus lying above the structure. So 1 phosphorus and 3 phosphorus. This is the phosphorus NMR spectroscopy or spectrum of phosphorus sesqui sulfide. Is it clear? Now coming to the other example. Coming to the fourth example, orthophosphoric acid. Orthophosphoric acid. (31) phosphorus spectrum for orthophosphoric acid. That is, its formula is H3PO4. H3PO4. It has a tetrahedral geometry. P double bond O, OH, OH and OH. Now phosphorus attached by 1 P double bond O and 3 hydroxy group. So it has a tetrahedral geometry. Now in this structure, both phosphorus and hydrogens are spin active. Therefore, how many phosphorus are? Only 1 phosphorus. Therefore 1 signal appear with a multiplicity which is due to coupling with proton. So a phosphorus coupled with a proton. All the protons are equivalent as belonging to OH and OH, OH. So a phosphorus, 1 phosphorus nuclei coupled with 3 equivalent hydrogens. So 3 plus 1, it becomes quartet. So a signal is appear as quartet. One signal appear as quartet. Why quartet appeared? Due to the coupling with hydrogen. How many hydrogens are there? 3 hydrogens. All hydrogens are equivalent. So a phosphorus nuclei coupled with the 3 equivalent hydrogen nuclei, so that its signal will be split into a quartet. So only 1 signal appear as a quartet. So this is the phosphorus NMR spectrum for orthophosphoric acid. Now next example, phosphorus acid. phosphorus acid. Its formula is H3PO3. H3PO3, similar to orthophosphoric acid. It also has tetrahedral geometry. Phosphorus, double bond O, two OH groups, OH, OH, one hydrogen. When compared with phosphoric acid, one oxygen is less in phosphorus acid. It is H3PO3. Therefore, two OH groups, one P double bond O, one hydrogen. Is it clear? So this is the tetrahedral structure. Again, only one phosphorus nuclei is present in the phosphorus acid. One signal is appeared. Let us find out the multiplicity. Now here, the phosphorus coupled with hydrogen nuclear spin and also coupled with OH proton nuclear spin. Are you following? So one phosphorus coupled with hydrogen as well as coupled with the OH proton nuclear spin. Now OH proton is different from the proton directly attached to phosphorus. Therefore, in earlier section we discussed about if a nuclei coupled with n number of non-equivalent protons, non-equivalent nucleus, its multiplicity become further multiplied. Do you remember? If a set of proton coupled with n number of equivalent, then n plus 1. If a set of proton coupled with n number of non-equivalent sets of other, then the multiplicity is multiplied. Now you apply the same condition to this, where the OH protons are different from a direct proton attached with phosphorus. That means a phosphorus coupled with two non-equivalent sets. First, when this phosphorus coupled with only one hydrogen, 1 plus 1, it is appear as doublet. When the same phosphorus coupled with two OH proton, what happens? It is split into triplet. 1 plus 2 triplet, in this way. Say this is phosphorus singlet before coupling. A phosphorus singlet before coupling. When coupled with hydrogen, what happens? It become doublet. This is due to hydrogen coupling. When coupled the same phosphorus with the two OH protons, every line of doublet becomes split into triplet. You see, like this. Now triplet is due to what? Coupling with OH proton. So in brief, one signal is appear for a phosphorus with a multiplicity of double triplet. This is one triplet, another triplet, double triplet. Its signal is appear as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3. There are 6 lines. One triplet and only one signal, because only one phosphorus. One signal appear with double triplets. Why double triplets? Due to the coupling with non-equivalent sets of protons. So this signal is represented as DT. Doublet of triplet or double triplet. It may called as doublet of triplet. First is the doublet followed by a triplet. So one signal appear with 6 lines consisting of 2 triplets with 1:1, 1:2:1 and 1:2:1. This is the phosphorus NMR spectroscopy for phosphorus acid. Now coming to the third one. Next example, hypophosphorus acid. The 31 phosphorus NMR spectrum for hypophosphorus acid. Are you following? Now it is formula is H3PO2. Further one oxygen is less. So it is also similar to the first two example. It also have a tetrahedral geometry. P double bond O, OH, instead of 2H, only one OH group, the two hydrogens. Now in the phosphorus acid there are two OH group, one hydrogen. In hypophosphorus acid, one OH group and two hydrogens, as one oxygen is less when compared with the phosphorus acid. So coming to the signal, only one phosphorus, one signal appear. Again, the phosphorus coupled with hydrogen nuclei as well as the OH nuclei, which are non-equivalent. First, when the phosphorus coupled with OH, it appears as doublet. When the phosphorus coupled with the two hydrogens directly attached, it appear as triplet. 1 plus 2 triplet, 1 plus 1 doublet, 1 plus 2 triplet. And the similar to phosphorus acid, the spectrum of hypophosphorus acid is also same. Where in the phosphorus acid, one phosphorus coupled with 2 OH and one hydrogen. In the hypophosphorus acid, the phosphorus coupled with the 2 hydrogen and 1 OH. So the signal splitting will be the same, that is doublet of triplet. One is to 2 is to 1, 1 is to 2 is to 1. This is altogether it is one signal, but the multiplicity is doublet of triplet. Is it clear? Now, so this is the phosphorus NMR spectrum for hypophosphorus acid. Next example. Now we will go for the other example. Hexafluorophosphate. PF6 minus. A central phosphorus, only one phosphorus. A central phosphorus is attached by 6 fluoride ligands, fluorine ligands. Hence its geometry is octahedral. The geometry will be octahedral, like phosphorus, fluorine here, fluorine here, fluorine here, fluorine, fluorine and fluorine. So the geometry is octahedral. Now you observe, in fluorine NMR we discussed about the ligand attached to the central atom horizontally are called as equatorial. The other ligand attached to central atom vertically called as axial. Now here 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 fluorines attached with central phosphorus horizontally, hence called as equatorial. Fe, Fe, Fe and Fe. These 2 fluorines are attached vertically to the central phosphorus, therefore called as axial. This is axial fluorine, this is axial fluorine. So this is hexafluorophosphate structure. Now here the complex contain only one phosphorus. Is it clear? Therefore one signal is appeared. Now coming to multiplicity, one signal. Why one signal? Because one phosphorus. Now what is the multiplicity? Let us find out. The phosphorus coupled. Now 2 axial fluorines are non-equivalent from 4 equatorial fluorine. Fluorine is inactive, therefore phosphorus coupled with fluorine nuclei. Here the 6 fluorines are distributed in 2 groups. The 2 fluorines as axial, the 4 fluorines are equatorial. Is it clear? Now first, when the phosphorus coupled with axial fluorine, how many axial fluorines? 2. 2 plus 1, what happens? It becomes triplet. Now the same phosphorus when coupled with equatorial fluorine, what happens? How many equatorial fluorines are there? 4. So what happened? 1 plus 4, it become quintet. It's one phosphorus. First, when coupled with the two axial fluorine, 2 plus 1, it become triplet, splitted into triplet. Now, when the same phosphorus, when coupled with 4 equivalent fluorines, 4 plus 1, the further splitting into quintet. So, a phosphorus coupled with two sets of non-equivalent, hence its multiplicity is multiplied. How it is multiplied? First, a singlet for phosphorus before coupling, when coupled with two axial fluorine, it become a triplet due to FA coupling, axial fluorine coupling. Now, the same phosphorus when coupled with the 4 equivalent fluorines, what happens? Every line of triplet is further split into quintet. A quintet. This is also quintet. A quintet. Now, overall multiplicity for one phosphorus is triplet of quintet. Triplet of quintet. A triplet will be further multiplied as quintet. Each line of triplet is further multiplied as quintet. Why we are not counting one phosphorus coupling with 6 fluorines? So what happens? 6 plus, in that way, if we count up, if we consider one phosphorus coupled with 6 fluorines, what happens? 6 plus 1, 7 lines. That is, heptate signal would be expected. But here the phosphorus is coupled with non-equivalent fluorines. Axial fluorines are different from equatorial fluorines. Under non-equivalent coupling, just now we studied that the multiplicity will be multiplied. Under the coupling with non-equivalent sets of other nuclei, the multiplicity for a nuclei is further multiplied. N plus 1 into N plus 1. Is it clear? Now, this we already discussed in fluorine NMR also. So, first, a signal as a singlet before coupling for phosphorus. When coupled with two axial fluorine, 1 plus 2, it becomes triplet. 1, 2, 3, a triplet. Further, when coupled with equatorial fluorines, there are 4 equatorial fluorines. 4 plus 1, it becomes 5. So, every line of triplet signal is further split into quintet, and quintet. This is due to Fe coupling. So, in brief, the phosphorus present in this complex appear with one signal. Its multiplicity will be triplet of quintet. 3 times quintet, triplet of quintet. We can present it as, now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the signal. This is only one signal, as only one phosphorus. 1 quintet, 2 quintet, 3 quintet. Obtained from where? From the triplet signal due to coupling with axial fluorine. So this is represented as T, triplet of quintet. TQ, triplet of quintet. Is it clear? So this is about the phosphorus NMR spectroscopy or spectrum for hexafluorophosphate. Now we'll go for other example. Now, phosphine, a simple phosphine. A simple phosphine, its formula is PH3. Phosphine, its formula is simple PH3. Now, it has a distorted pyramidal structure. This is phosphorus, 3 hydrogens attached. 3 hydrogens attached. Are you following? Here, phosphorus, one phosphorus is there, one signal appear. Now it coupled, the phosphorus coupled with a hydrogen nuclei. How many hydrogens are there? 3 hydrogens. Is all the 3 hydrogens are equivalent or non-equivalent? Equivalent. So a phosphorus coupled with one set of equivalent. So in that case, now the signal multiplicity will be according to n plus 1. So n plus 1 is equal to coupling with 3 proton. 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. That is quartet. Is it clear? There is no further multiplication. Why? Because a nuclei coupled, phosphorus coupled with 3 equivalent only one equivalent set. Therefore n plus 1. 3 plus 1 is equal to quartet. So a signal will be appear as quartet. A simple quartet is appear for phosphorus in phosphine. Is it clear? Now in this case, in the previous section or in the previous example, we are multiplied the multiplicity because of non-equivalent coupling. Now here we are not going to multiply, just simply count according to n plus 1 rule for multiplicity, because a phosphorus coupled with only equivalent protons. So hence 1 plus 3, it is quartet. Now coming to the other example, difluorophosphine. 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 Its structure, its formula is HPF2. HPF2, difluorophosphine. Now, similar to phosphine, it has a distorted pyramidal structure. Phosphine, 2 fluorine, 1 hydrogen. Now in the previous example, that is phosphine, there are 3 hydrogens, but in the difluorophosphine, 1 hydrogen and 2 fluorines. Now hydrogen is spin active, fluorine is also spin active. What happens? 1 phosphorus, 1 signal, but coupled with both hydrogen and fluorine. The nuclei of hydrogen is different from nuclei of fluorine. That is 1 phosphorus coupling with 2 sets of non-equivalent. So when non-equivalent coupling is observed, what we should consider? We should consider the further multiplication of n plus 1. That is, when phosphorus coupled with 1 hydrogen, now 1 plus 1, what happens? It becomes doublet. It becomes doublet. When coupled with the fluorine nuclei, as fluorine is also spin active, hence able to couple. As phosphorus coupled with the fluorine, how many fluorines are there? 2 fluorine. 2 plus 1, what happens? Triplet. A doublet signal due to coupling with hydrogen is further multiplied as into triplet. So every line of doublet will be further split into a triplet due to coupling with fluorine. So this is the condition under non-equivalent coupling. That is, a singlet signal before coupling, a doublet signal when coupled with hydrogen. This is for phosphorus. Before coupling it has a singlet. A doublet is observed due to the coupling with hydrogen, and every line of doublet is further split into triplet. Because of fluorine coupling. There are 2 fluorines coupling. So in brief, one signal is appear as doublet of triplet. Now its spectrum has now 1:2:1, 1:2:1. So a doublet is further split into triplet due to the fluorine coupling. Therefore the multiplicity is doublet of triplet or double triplet. It may also called as double triplet. Is it clear? So this is the phosphorus NMR spectrum for difluorophosphine. Now we have 2 more examples. Trimethyl phosphate. or trimethoxyphosphine. Now, trimethylphosphine. Trimethyl phosphate, not phosphine. This is trimethyl phosphate. Its formula is P attached by OCH3 3 times. This is the formula. Trimethyl phosphate. It has, similar to the previous two example, it has a distorted pyramidal structure. Where a phosphorus is bound with OCH3, 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 OCH3. All the CH3 groups are equivalent. So the phosphorus coupled with methyl proton, all the protons are equivalent. According to n+1, a doublet is up here. A simple doublet is up here. With a coupling constant of doublet is 11.3 Hz. In trimethyl phosphate, a doublet signal is up here due to coupling with methyl proton, and the coupling constant present in the doublet will be corresponding to 11.3 Hz. So this is about trimethyl phosphate. Now one more example is there in your syllabus. That is a rhodium square planar complex of rhodium. Attached with one triphenyl phosphine, PPH3, one ligand of triphenyl phosphine, 3 ligands of chlorine. So rhodium is surrounded with 4 ligands. One is triphenyl phosphine ligand, 3 chloride ligands. So it is a square planar structure. Rhodium attached with 4 ligands. Chlorine here, phosphorus here, PH, or we can write in an abbreviated form. PH3, triphenyl phosphine ligand. Is it clear? Now in this complex, how many phosphorus atoms are there? Only one phosphorus, so that one signal is up here are expected. Now in this complex, the rhodium nuclei is spin active with I is equal to plus or minus 1/2. So rhodium is a spin active because its I value is plus or minus 1/2. Therefore, this phosphorus coupled with a rhodium nuclear spin. How many rhodiums are there? Only one. So according to n+1, what happens? 1 plus 1, it becomes appear as doublet. A simple doublet. One phosphorus is there in PPH3 ligand. One phosphorus appear with one signal. Its multiplicity, phosphorus coupled with rhodium with I is equal to 1/2. According to n+1 rule, 1 plus 1, a signal appear as doublet. One signal appeared as a doublet. With 1:1 intensity. So it is a simple phosphorus NMR spectrum. If the complex containing one phosphorus, therefore one signal would be expected, but it appear as a doublet. That is due to coupling of phosphorus nuclei with a rhodium, as it is also spin active. Hence it appear as a doublet. So So these are the examples included. These are the 9 or 10 examples included in your syllabus. So those examples were only discussed for their phosphorus NMR spectrum or phosphorus NMR spectroscopy. So with this, the phosphorus NMR spectroscopy topic is completed. It is a smaller topic where the topic includes principal, coupling constant, principal, absorption frequency, coupling constant, followed by its application to a specified examples included in the syllabus. So we have, in the today's class, we have discussed about its principal and its absorption frequencies and its coupling constant, and also application to 9 or 10 examples which are specified in the syllabus. So similar to fluorine, the phosphorus NMR is also, the syllabus related to phosphorus is also limited in your syllabus. Hence, with this, a phosphorus NMR spectroscopy is completed. So up to this part, we have completed proton NMR, fluorine NMR and phosphorus NMR. Now in the proton NMR, we discussed about nomenclature, first order, second order, some examples under first order, second order proton NMR, that is AX, AX2, AMX, AX3, A2, AMX, A2X3, AB and ABC. So under first order and second order, we discussed some examples. Now followed by, we discussed about the simplification of complex NMR spectrum. There are 4 methods: double resonance, use of lanthanide shift reagents, NOE technique, increasing field strength. 4 methods we completed, followed by its application to discriminate the enantiomers. The enantiomers were discriminated using proton NMR spectra, which included use of chiral NMR solvents, use of chiral lanthanide shift reagents, and use of Moser's assay. Followed, then we learned about the fluxinal molecule, fluxinal behavior, fluxinal molecule, and few examples under the fluxinal behavioral study with the help of NMR spectroscopy. So this is the part of NMR spectroscopy. Total syllabus will be discussed. And fluorine NMR spectroscopy, principal, absorption frequency, coupling constant, and application to study some structures or some examples present in the syllabus. So principal is completed, absorption frequency, coupling constant, and the same examples which included in the syllabus were discussed. Similar to fluorine, coming to phosphorus. According to syllabus, you have to study principal, absorption frequency, coupling constant, and its application to specified examples. The same will be covered or completed. Is it clear? Now, in this unit, one more topic left over, that is called as solid state NMR. Solid state NMR spectroscopy. That topic we will discuss in the next lecture, which is the last lecture for this unit, NMR spectroscopy unit. Is it clear? So with this, I conclude my lecture, today's lecture. Once again, I appeal all the second semester students, please read well, please watch my video carefully, connecting your microphones for clarity in audio. And I also appeal to you to write down the notes which I have sending through this video lecture in your WhatsApp group, and you learn very well and you study well and you achieve your goal. Thank you very much.